to this happy place, welcome.
Hey guys, it's Tim, and welcome to the Dreaming of Disney podcast. And I'm with my beautiful wife, Adrienne.
Hey.
She's exhausted from all the exciting news today.
Nice segue. Oh, it just wore me out. I can't even.
You were taking a shower, and I was like, guess what just happened? And I said, Disney announced the closing date of Splash Mountain in Disneyland.
Yeah, that's what happened. Thanks for sharing.
No problem. And so what's followed was a bit of drama. Yes, no, it's closing. No, yes, it is closing. No, it's closing.
Well, it's closing.
Well, it's closing, but we don't know the date yet. So it was like 8 in the morning. Maybe, no, it was closer to 9. I was on Instagram and I saw the Disneyland News Today Instagram account say, Disney announces closing for Splash Mountain in Disneyland. I'm like, oh, here we go. And like, I immediately pulled out my laptop, started making park reservations, started looking at hotel. But then I was reading the article and I was like, okay, hold on. Where are they getting this info from? Because the first thing I went to the Disneyland app to look at the calendar, and it wasn't listed as closing on May 7th because that was the date. So May 7th was the closing date.
Do they have refurbishments after that? Like, is the calendar up for after that?
No, May 7th was the last day.
Oh, so they do have May 7th.
They do have May 7th.
So they don't have anything after May 7th.
They don't have anything after May 7th.
That's
so May 6th would have been the last operating day of Splash Mountain.
So for other rides too, though, I mean, like just overall, the calendar goes through May 7th?
It goes through May 7th. That's the last day.
Interesting.
Yeah. And so I was like, that's weird. They say Disney has announced the date, but go on the Disney website and the app, Disneyland app, and there is no date for Splash Mountain. So I was like, that's strange. So doing some little investigating work, pretty much I just Googled.
Kind of.
I Googled. And the OC Register, which is the newspaper down in Anaheim. And, it's a newspaper. It's not a...
Siri doesn't have any information about that. Oh, I'm sorry.
Google. Hey, Google, stop.
Google doesn't have any information about that.
Google was trying to butt into our information. Our podcast.
Our podcast.
But, so it was the Disneyland News page. They didn't list their source. And so I was like, that's weird. And it was like, I want to know who the source is. Where did they get this information? So, quick digging found the OC Register page, newspaper, down there. And so, they're a reputable newspaper. So take that over like a Disney fan blog.
Right.
And they said Disney announced on Disneyland's website that May 7th was the closing day for Splash Mountain. I was like, okay, that's weird. But you go onto the Disneyland's website. All it says is that it's closing soon for a year for Tiana's Bayou Adventure ride for opening in sometime in 2024. But there's no date. And the refurbishment calendar shows no date for Splash Mountain. I looked on the website and on the app and I was like, that's really weird. So, but anyways, like then all the Disneyland fan pages, accounts, you name it, were all saying Splash Mountain's closing. They finally announced a date. And so I made park reservations for us, but I didn't book hotel because like I'm going to wait until Monday to see if Disney officially comes out and announces it. Because in Disney World, they did like an Instagram post. They posted all over on the Disney Parks blog saying this is the official last day for Splash Mountain.
Yeah.
And
I want to look. I want to see what that looked like. I mean, I remember, but...
And it was weird that there was nothing officially from Disney. I was like, why would they let the OC Register, all these fan pages announce it. It just seemed really out of character, and on a Sunday too. So it's like, was this leaked?
Sunday.
And usually, these things are announced on a weekday. So really strange. So a couple hours go by, and
Not even. It wasn't even. I don't even think it was a couple hours. Maybe it was.
Maybe it was an hour and a half.
It wasn't that long.
Then I start seeing things like, oh wait, no, that's not correct. Disney, came back, issued a statement saying that the information from OC Register, who was the first to break the news, was incorrect. There is no date officially yet for the closing of Splash Mountain.
Just.
So
like,
they have a date.
You seriously don't have a date?
They
don't have a date?
have a date. They just aren't ready to publicly say it.
But here's the thing. Why? What difference is it going to make if you say the date or not? Because they most likely know, unless they're waiting on some kind of, like some kind of reply from some team that's working on the ride. But at this point, they probably have that, and they're not. I'm not making sense. At this point, they probably have everybody locked in to when they start the job, what they're doing. I mean, this is Disney. It's not like it's some independent person doing a remodel on their house and the contractor hasn't confirmed the date. Like, they know.
Everything locked in.
So it's like, why can't you say it? Especially when Disney World has said it and done it, and it's been months since. It just seems a little ridiculous.
Well, there's lots of things. I'm sure there's other announcements that they want to make. And so they have a schedule of when they want to make these announcements, and they obviously were not ready. I mean,
well, no,
they have everything.
But why was my point?
They
why?
They probably have other announcements that they want to make first, that they don't want to steal their thunder away from other things. Just thinking, and it's not just Disneyland. I mean, this is Disney. So Disney has other announcements from the entire company that they probably want to make, that they want that to get the press more than a ride at Disneyland. Take, for instance, Star Wars Celebration in London is happening in a couple of weeks.
Star Wars Celebration.
The Star Wars convention.
Oh, the convention. Gotcha.
It's taking place in London, I think first week of April. So that's not this week, but the coming week. And so I'm sure there's announcements there. And so it's all typical corporate stuff that they just have a very specific schedule that they want to follow. And so they probably, it wasn't in line yet. So anyways, lots of drama on a Sunday morning for Splash Mountain, trying to park reservations. Should we book a hotel? Should we not book a hotel? And, just chatting on Instagram with some of the other podcasters that we interact with. Johnny J from the DMS. I always want to say DS. DMSW podcast. He's based in Boston, or Massachusetts. Massachusetts. He's planning on coming to Disneyland for the last day of Splash Mountain, and he said he booked everything but his plane ticket.
Oh man!
So hopefully this thing sticks. Maybe they come out tomorrow and be like, oh wait, yes,
yeah, it is.
May 6th is the last day of Splash Mountain. But we'll see what happens next. So got everybody on their toes this morning.
Yeah, I hope they come out and say something tomorrow.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't be surprised if there's nothing, if it's just radio silence.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised either.
Which again, I just don't understand. I was trying to find a post from them about it closing in Disney World, and I couldn't find anything. So that's really interesting.
Yeah, that is really interesting. Thanks. Thanks for doing that digging. So
It's rude. I tried.
I
Okay.
know, you did try. You did great.
You want me to keep
Appreciate it.
trying? I'll keep trying.
Okay. So we got a listener question this week, or actually Saturday. And we thought it'd be fun to take the time to answer this listener's question. She asked about, they only have one day and Park Hopper, Genie Plus, and like the best tips for making the most out of our day. And so we've done like these if you only had one day type episodes. And so now
Yeah.
we get to put that into use.
But this is a little more like that was like our dream day.
That's true.
I think that was like ideal day, or like where this is like, what's her name?
Ashley.
Ashley. So they have 3 kids, right?
Yeah. So you want me to just read her question?
Read it.
So Ashley reached out to us on Instagram. She says, "Hi, I just found your podcast and I'm trying to come up with a game plan. Heading to Disneyland with 3 kids, 2, 5, and 6. I believe she has 2 boys and a girl. The boys are 2 and 5 and girl is 6 years old.
Right.
We only have one day. So that's first like, oh man.
Oh man.
Doing Park Hopper.
Okay.
Again, oh
Oh
man.
man. Oh man.
And Genie Plus, which is good. I think that's a good strategy.
Yes.
It's worth the money for that.
Yes.
So where do we start? Disney Park or California Adventure? And what about food? Make reservations for dinner or just be flexible and quick order? We are in Tampa, so very familiar with Walt Disney World. So this is a new territory. And as we found out, Disneyland and Walt Disney World are very different in how they operate.
Yeah.
And then she says, "Oh, and any tips on child swap? At Walt Disney World, each ride operates so differently."
Yes, I remember that. Mm-hmm.
So, so lots of questions kind of walk through. I know you've been thinking about
I've been
this,
thinking about this.
thinking about it all day.
I like this.
So her first question, we only have one day. So doing Park Hopper and Genie Plus, where do we start?
Okay. So now a lot of this could be different if you disagree with me. Obviously. But it's like I don't like saying blanket statements that are like sound like fact, because this could not be the case for you.
So best like offer,
you know what
like,
I mean? So like these are my opinions based on like obviously my experience and just kind of and having young children. Okay.
Yeah.
This is just so, and she didn't mention if they've ever been before.
She did not say, but I assume that with her reaching out, this is probably their first time in Disney World. I'm assuming Disneyland, which they're familiar with Disney World.
And like we made the mistake of thinking, okay, Magic Kingdom, we've probably got that down because we know Disneyland. Nope.
Very right.
But really what I was thinking is, California is very different.
Very different.
Closest to Hollywood Studios, I would say, but still very different.
Yeah.
So not right off the bat, this took me some thinking. I actually had a different idea at first, but I think this would be the best. So California Adventure does not have as many rides for little ones. So, and this is another thing that you have to take into account that we don't know. Like if her and her husband are like more focused on the little ones and just like getting on rides with them for most of the day, then some of the things I say might not fit. If they want to take time for themselves too, to get on like some of the bigger rides. Well, she's asked about rider swaps. So I'm assuming they do. So I'm throwing that in there. If you're not in, like, if you'd rather skip some of the big rides because your little ones can't or don't want to, you can just throw this out. But so what I think, I think they should start in California Adventure.
Oh, really?
Yeah. You're surprised, eh?
I am surprised.
Okay.
Okay. You have me intrigued.
Ooh, okay.
Go ahead.
Okay.
I don't know where you're going with this.
Ooh, okay. We were going to talk about it earlier. I was like, should we save it? Okay. So, because they can get it done pretty quick.
That's a good point. Yeah.
So, obviously, there's going to be a lot more that you could do. You can spend multiple days in California Adventure, but you have one day. So, I think if it's in your means, can't believe I'm saying this. What was the listener who asked us a question like a month ago and said, like, I know how Adrian feels about.
I
can't remember his name. But
Roman.
Okay. I think you should, if it's in your means, purchase individual Lightning Lane for racers.
Yes.
A lot of people don't. A lot of people try to rope drop it.
Yeah.
You're only there one day. It's not a ride you have in Florida. Mm-hmm. It's so fun. Now, this is a 40-inch ride, so the 2-year-old wouldn't be able to. Depending on the height of your other two, I think they'd probably be okay.
Yeah.
It's really, really good. It's one of my favorite rides. Mm-hmm. If you even try to rope drop, you'll wait at least an hour.
Yes.
Which,
true.
given the fact that you have not that much time, I would recommend if you can swing it, purchasing individual Lightning Lane for racers. Most likely, you will get a quick return time, like in the morning, because people are just trying to rope drop it. So every time we've been there, and we've gotten there early because we stayed at a
Disney
resort. Mm-hmm. But as soon as rope drop and you see that huge crowd coming down Cars Land, the wait time goes up to at least an hour, if not more.
Yes.
But there's plenty of individual Lightning Lanes available. Mm-hmm. So if you purchase it first thing, you'll most likely get a quick return time that could possibly be right then in the morning.
That's true. Yeah.
So if they do that, for your Genie Plus selection, I would select Web Slingers.
Yes. I was thinking the same thing.
The whole family can ride that, even the 2-year-old. Mm-hmm. You have 2 boys. They'd probably be super into it. I mean, even your girl would probably be into it. It's really fun. And the whole family can ride. So while you're waiting for that, hopefully the individual Lightning Lane is like first thing in the morning for racers.
If they they buy it the moment they scan through the gates.
Oh, because that's different. Okay. Ooh. Okay. So Disneyland, you cannot purchase. Oh, this is a big one.
Yeah.
You cannot purchase Genie Plus until you are in the gates. So it's not a 7 a.m. thing like it is in Disney World.
That's a little bit different.
They changed it again?
You can, when you buy your tickets, this is a little bit different because we are pass holders. So the way it works for us is a little bit different. If you buy individual tickets, you can add Genie Plus.
Didn't they stop that?
No. I confirmed it. I was looking at tickets for friends, and there was an option to add on Genie Plus.
Okay, did they stop it for Disney World?
Maybe.
At some point they did. There was no longer, you had to purchase it the day of, or the midnight. They stopped being the add-on when you purchase tickets, and maybe they reinstated it, but I know that they stopped it at some point.
I'm gonna have to look at this,
and maybe they stopped it for Disney World and not Disneyland, but I know they stopped it at some point.
All right, keep talking.
Because I've heard other podcasts talk about it too, that you can't add it on beforehand. Okay, so let's just assume that it's the way that I have known. And you don't have Genie Plus when you bought your tickets. You purchase Genie Plus when you get into the park. Mm-hmm. So once you get through the gates, purchase Genie Plus. I would purchase individual Lightning Lane for cars, or for racers. I'm sorry.
Yes, you can add on Genie Plus.
So they changed that because they took that away.
They did take that away.
Unless, again, maybe that was just for Disney World.
Maybe that was for Disney World. But yes, you can add on
Okay, but
Genie
if
Plus.
she hasn't added it on, and then she's purchasing it there, because in Disney World, if you stay on property, you can purchase it at midnight. or,
the midnight of the day.
of the day of.
Yes.
And at 7 a.m. is when it opens, when you can choose your selections. That's not the case. You cannot choose even if you purchased it prior.
I think what it is, you can purchase Genie Plus. You can't make your first selection until you are in the gates of the park.
Okay.
That's what's different.
Okay. So that's the big difference. So whether you have it now or you buy it when you get in there, you cannot make a selection until you're in the gate.
Sorry, Ashley. I know this is very confusing, but
so forget the last 5 minutes. Either way, you cannot make your selection at 7 a.m. like you can in Disney World. You make your selections once you and your whole party have scanned your tickets and you are in the gate.
Mm-hmm.
So that is when I would personally, if you can, buy individual Lightning Lane for
racers,
Radiator Springs racers. You'd only have to buy 4 because a 2-year-old can't do it. And then hopefully that return time is like, right. You can choose hopefully one that's like now. And then I would get your first Genie Plus selection, I would do Web Slingers.
Now,
hang on, let me finish my thought.
Go ahead.
If your racer's return time is like right then, I'd maybe go out a little bit with the Web Slingers because you have to rider swap. So you want to give yourself a little time with racers. If you purchase it, you go through the Lightning Lane.
Mm-hmm.
You most likely will only wait maybe 5 minutes. And then the other group will also go through the Lightning Lane and you will only wait like 5 minutes. Yep. But you have to do it, twice. You have to split up your party. Mm-hmm. So if it's like 30 minutes out or so for Web Slingers, you do have an hour to check in. But, I wouldn't pick like a now for Web Slingers. What were you going to say, babe?
What was I going to say?
I don't know.
It was
Web Slingers.
Oh, with individual Lightning Lane, I can't remember. Can you make an individual Lightning Lane Genie Plus selection and then make a regular Genie Plus selection, or do you have to wait until you scan through? So you can have a individual Lightning Lane and a Genie Plus.
And a Genie Plus, yeah.
So what I would recommend is get your individual Lightning Lane for racers.
That's what I just
then
said.
Check for Web Slingers.
That's what I just said.
Is that what you just said?
That's what I just said.
Okay, I was looking at other things.
Yep,
so I wasn't listening. Sorry. No, they're going mid-April, so I was just curious to seeing what the park hours were during that time. And,
okay.
And all that.
So now this is assuming that you go to racers first. While half of you are on that, there's the 2 other rides in Cars Land. The Mater's Jamboree and then the Luigi ride. Both of those, most likely, the 2-year-old would be able to ride. Mm-hmm. Our daughter rode them when we went in February, and she was 21 months about at that time. She's almost 2. And she's not particularly tall. She's like average height. It's 32 inches. And so that way, when half of your group is on racers, you can, take the other kids on those rides. And then, swap. You don't need to get a rider swap when you all have individual Lightning Lane because it's the same thing. You cannot do a rider swap if you do individual Lightning Lane.
Yes, they check. They check.
So
we've
all
tried it.
4.
They check on that.
I say all 4. You might have one of your kids that doesn't want to ride it. Whoever's riding it needs an individual Lightning Lane. You can't rider swap. They will check and they will be like, you have to get an individual Lightning Lane. You can't try to only purchase for half your group. So that would be a good time spending in Cars Land. While some of you are on racers, some of you riding the other little rides. And it's just a really cool land. I mean, that's not in Disney World, and it is so good. Mm-hmm. It is
one of the best themed lands of all Disney parks
that we've been to.
Yeah.
We haven't been to all of them, but we've been to 3. Well, no, if you count. Disney World is 1. I know there's 4 parks there, but if you count that as 1, we've been, and Cars Land is amazing.
Yeah.
It's so good. So spending some time in there. After that, then if your Genie Plus is ready for Web Slingers, you can head over and do that. Whole family can do that, even the 2-year-old.
Yep.
Super fun. Avengers Campus, again, is something that's not in Disney World. Other than that, there's not a whole lot to do.
There's Guardians.
Oh, one thing. There's the little, well, Guardians, yes. I'll get to that. But there's a little like Spider-Man stunt show. It's only a few minutes. You can check on the app when it runs.
It's like every 30 minutes or so.
Yeah. I mean, but the littles might get a kick out of that.
Yeah,
especially the boys might get a kick out of it. Guardians, I was going to say it is so fun, but you don't have a whole lot of time.
That's true.
And
You gotta
that
pick
is
and choose.
that is one because you'd have to rider swap. Even when you get a Genie Plus selection for that one, you're waiting at least 20 minutes.
That is a long wait one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if it's not like on a top of your list, I'd say skip it.
Okay.
I know it's hard,
It's hard
but
to
they
skip
only
that
have
one.
1 day.
I know.
They only have 1
I know.
day.
They haven't even been to Disneyland yet.
Yeah. So, but this will probably be in your first hour.
That's true.
Like
That's true.
easy.
Yeah.
Then I'd head over to Ariel.
Okay.
They have a little girl. It's in the morning too. It's not a long line. Even when it is like
It's like a
20
walk
minutes,
on.
you know, it's one of those ones that's on a conveyor belt. So it's just like going. So the line moves fast.
They have Ariel in Disney World.
They do, but it's all right. That's up to you. Your daughter's into Ariel. Go on Ariel.
I'm just thinking it's like they're in Disneyland. There's
Okay.
things that's not
True.
at a Disney
Okay.
World.
Okay. So say you want to skip Ariel. Again, there's not a whole lot of little rides here. But here was one thing that I would do. So you want to head to Ariel because Ariel is on the way down to Pixar Pier, which is where I was taking them next. So do it or not. Whatever. One thing you should do, which most likely none of their kids can do, unless they're very tall 6-year-old, is Incredicoaster.
Yes.
But Incredicoaster is amazing.
Yes.
So down on Pixar Pier, there's the carousel. There's also a little ways down the Inside Out little ride.
Yeah. Incredible whirlwind of emotions or something like that.
And then there's just like little carnival games, which we've done a couple of times, but we typically skip. But just a few things for the littles so that Ashley and her husband could take turns doing single rider on Incredicoaster.
Yep.
Single rider typically goes pretty fast. It would at this time still be pretty early in the morning. And so probably not very long line for a single rider. So one of you can take the kids and do little things like there's Jesse's Carousel and the other little ride I mentioned. What was it? Inside Out.
Yep.
And then you guys could switch. Toy Story Mania is one they have in Disney World. So, and that one's always a long line.
Yeah.
If it's one of your favorites, then after
Spider-Man.
after Web Slingers, you could get a Genie Plus for that.
Yeah, that one fills up pretty quick. Now doesn't sell out, but I mean the
times
times go out.
Yeah.
A little bit.
But it is one that's in Disney World, so if you want to skip it to try to get to things you can't do there.
Now I'm going to throw a wrinkle into this. You may have not gone into this, or you're planning to get to it, but
Okay.
I know you probably thought about Soarin'. Did you think about Soarin'?
It's in Disney World. I was going to
But
say.
here's the wrinkle. Right now
it's
Soarin'
Soarin' over California?
Soarin' over
Well,
California.
did they put that?
They don't do that at Disney World.
Are you sure?
Yes.
How do you know that? What's your source?
My source
Is your source the OG reporter?
OG, original gangster reporter.
OC reporter?
No, because Soarin' didn't come to Disney World until after after California Adventure. It was originally in California Adventure,
Right.
as
'Cause it's
Soarin' Over California.
California.
And then once they brought it to Disney World, it was Soarin' Over the World.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So it's relatively newish in Epcot?
Yes.
Oh.
So
Okay.
right now it's Soarin' Over California, which is
Okay.
the original.
The original, and it's good.
It's
Okay.
one of the best.
Well, then after Web Slingers, then maybe try to get a Genie Plus for that. Mm-hmm. Yeah. While you're waiting for that, Single Rider and Credit Coaster, get the kids on those little rides. Soarin', I think that's a good. By then, it's probably still before lunch.
Yeah. So Park Hopper is now at 11 a.m. So you don't have to wait till 1. So are they eating at California Adventure or are they eating at Disneyland?
See, this is where I say, it's hard to know exactly how long this will take them. If it's way before lunch, you can't park up till 11. At 11, have you done those things? Are you kind of good? Do you want to eat lunch? Do you want to head over to Disneyland? I'm trying to, like, places to eat in California. Like lunch, nothing is sticking out to me like
Yeah.
that much.
I know she asked about, food, reservations or quick service. I would say for lunch, probably quick service.
Yeah. I would say that. Excuse me. I don't know. For us anyway, lunch, everyone's usually pretty hungry. And we just want to we're ready to sit and take a break and just get something real quick. Mm-hmm. So for California,
we always do the smoke jumpers.
the smoke jumpers
right
over
next
by
to-
Soarin', which
right next to Soarin'.
we mentioned if you wanted to do Soarin', and then if you had, because that you have to rider swap.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing really over there for the little kids while you're swapping.
Mm-hmm.
Or I should just say the 2-year-old. But outside of smoke jumpers, if you sit outside, it's kind of a nice area to let the little ones just kind of roam around and walk around. It's usually not too busy over there. And it's just kind of, there's just this section over, there's just a back cast member gate and some tables and, it's not busy. So you can just kind of let them wander and get some energy out. It's not a playground or anything, but it's kind of out of the way and not busy. And yeah, they have good.
It's burgers, sandwiches.
Yeah.
Chicken strips for kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you're wanting something that you can't find in Disney World, I would say Pim's Kitchen.
Oh,
Just because
that's
it's
a good one.
because it's different.
Yeah.
So, it's based on, Ant-Man and the food. It's
enlarged.
Yeah. The chicken sandwich is the bun is really small and the piece of chicken is huge,
Yeah.
but it's good food.
Yeah.
They have some fun drinks. I don't know about the kids menu because when we ate there, you and I just ate and because we had packed the kids lunch.
Yeah.
I imagine it's a typical, but maybe they play on something kind of fun.
I know that they do have some kids menus, but we haven't bought stuff for the kids, so we can't really comment on that.
Yeah. The seating was a little packed when we ate there.
Yes.
We just had to take our food across the way and sit on, in this corner.
Yeah.
But it's not in Disney World. It was good food, a little different and fun, very themed, very, very themed.
Yeah.
So that's a fun one.
So they
there's
did.
those are the two options I would say. Smoke jumpers has some basic good stuff. There's an area where kids can just kind of wander, get some energy out. It's right by Soarin'. Or there's Pim's Kitchen, which is fun and different and not in Florida.
Yeah.
So if you wanted to eat lunch there and then head over, those would be the two options I'd say.
Yeah.
if you park hop and eat lunch over in Disneyland, because here's what I was going to say.
Okay.
I don't know if they're fans. But as we were just talking about, Splash Mountain is closed in Disney World.
Yes.
You cannot ride it anymore.
That's true.
It is still open in Disneyland.
This is a unique opportunity for you, Ashley.
Also, the drop is almost double
That's right.
what it is in Disney World.
That's right.
It is 26 feet in Disney World. It is 49 in Disneyland.
That's right.
So it's good. Mm-hmm. My favorite.
Yes.
So after your last Genie Plus selection in California, if you're fans and you know you're hopping over to Disneyland, maybe try to get a Splash Mountain
Genie Plus.
Genie Plus.
Yeah.
If you eat lunch over there, there's Hungry Bear. Hungry Bear's good.
Yes.
They just have, chicken sandwiches, burgers, right?
Yeah, burgers. Yeah.
Yummy dessert. Usually have some kind of seasonal funnel cake. And it's right across from Splash Mountain. There's also Winnie the Pooh down there, which, yes, I know is in Disney World. But if you go on Splash Mountain, you have to ride or swap.
So we've talked about rider swap a few times. Mentioned it.
I was just going to...
Should we break down how rider swap works at Disneyland? Because it's pretty much consistent every single ride in Disneyland, except for
Space
Mountain.
Yeah.
Although that might be changed because Space Mountain just introduced a single rider line again.
Oh.
So, and it's not through the exit.
Oh.
So, but that might just be an outlier. So, explain how rider swap works at Disneyland.
So rider swap, you go up to the cast member at the entrance of the ride, tell them you need a rider swap. They'll ask who's staying out. And then you can scan the person who's staying out plus two more, which given the size of their family, it'll probably be mostly 2 and 2, but who knows? Some kids they can be tall enough, but they don't want to ride it. So maybe it's just going to be 1 and 2 or whatever.
Yeah. So it's a total of 3 that you can get a rider swap for.
Yes. Who can go the second group, total of 3, but it doesn't have to be 3. It can be 1. It can be 2. So they'll ask who's staying out, who's the second group. You'll scan those tickets on your app. Then when you return for every ride, I'm just making sure I'm right here. That as far as I know, except for Space Mountain, you just go through the Lightning Lane. Space Mountain when we were there, now I don't know if they will have changed this by mid-April, but when we were there in February, it was still the case. You go through the exit and they tell you anytime you check in at the entrance and ask for a rider swap, they will tell you where to go. So Space Mountain, you go through the exit. I prefer that you walk right on.
Yeah.
Because Lightning Lane, you're waiting with anyone who has a Lightning Lane for it.
Yep.
Still, you're not waiting long. Like you're mostly walking on with Lightning Lane, but with the exit in Space Mountain, you walk right up to where they put you on the car.
Yeah.
Like it's insanely fast, but it's only for Space Mountain that you go through the exit. Everything else you go through Lightning Lane.
Yep.
So if you do want to do Splash, good place for lunch if you haven't already eaten is Hungry Bear. For the group that stays out, there's Winnie the Pooh. They also down there in Pooh Corner, which is right by the exit of Splash Mountain. They often have the characters out they have like Pooh, Eeyore, Tigger. I saw a rabbit when we were there last time, which wasn't one they had before. But a little line that you go through and meet like 3 different Winnie the Pooh characters. So if, the group that stays out, you could do that. And then swap. So again, that's what I would do. I'd take the chance to ride Splash Mountain one more time.
Yeah. I didn't even think about that.
And get the double drop.
Yep.
Get the double drop. So there is a lot that is already at Magic Kingdom.
Because here's what I thought you were going to suggest. I was going to think that you were going to suggest start at Disneyland and go to Fantasyland and do all Fantasyland because everybody's going to be rope dropping Rise of Resistance and Galaxy's Edge. And so Fantasyland is going to be slower.
That's true.
Because now you're after lunch.
I know.
And Fantasyland gets pretty crazy.
I know.
In the afternoon.
I know.
Especially with young kids.
What I honestly thought about starting Disneyland, going over to California for a little bit, and then back to Disneyland. Because that's an odd thought for Disney World people, because park hopping is a bigger deal over there because the parks are far away.
Yeah.
That's not uncommon at Disneyland. It's an easy walk.
Yeah, because they're right next to each other.
They're right next to each other. So you could go back and forth. But it's tiring.
Yeah.
It's more tiring. 3 young kids. So I'm trying to maximize the time because they could start in California and be done by 11 and then spend the rest of the day in Disneyland.
Yeah.
And most of, if not all, other than Matterhorn, all the big rides in Disneyland are at Magic Kingdom.
Yes.
So,
but I wouldn't.
Well, hang on.
Space Mountain is not the
I know
same.
you're going to say them. I'm going to get there. I'm going to get there.
Okay.
So,
because I would say that Matterhorn and Space Mountain and Magic Kingdom and Space Mountain are the same ride.
right. I would say skip Matterhorn.
Yeah.
Skip Matterhorn. Okay. But you're okay.
Okay, go ahead. Go
So,
ahead. I just had to throw that in there.
after you get your Genie Plus for... Oh, wait a second. Now, Mickey and Minnie's is at Disney World, but their kids might really like it.
Toontown is brand new.
Well, that's okay. This is what I was going to say. After lunch, and I don't know, how's your 2-year-old? Does your 2-year-old nap? Does your 2-year-old nap? Ooh. Because that's always tricky.
Yeah.
Because when the baby's napping, that's when you want to do rider swap things, because it's like Fantasyland. It's like, oh, we can all ride this, but the baby's asleep. Unless you don't care. Unless one of the parents is like, no, I'm good. You can go ride the carousel with the other ones. Then there's that. Because what I was going to say is whenever the kids need to burn off some energy, go to Toontown. We have not been since it's reopened. Well, we've been to like a section of it. There was like a big grassy area where kids were just running.
Well, apparently that grassy area is now stroller parking.
Are you kidding?
No.
What happened? Oh, because
they
had stroller parking right in front of Roger Rabbit Ride, but now that's reopened.
Yeah.
That's lame because that was great.
Well, there's another park. They have another green space area.
Oh, okay. Because Georgia loved that.
Yeah. But they're using that as stroller parking now.
That's kind of stinks because the kids, there were so many kids just running and laughing. And like, it was just, because you think, yeah, it's exhausting for kids and they're doing stuff all day. But a lot of times, little ones in strollers, they're not walking, they're sitting and riding, and you're holding them in line. Even if they're walking in line, it's only a few steps at a time.
Yeah.
So they were just like, there was a bunch of toddlers just running. But whenever they need to just like run and you might want to sit for a little break, there's some play areas in Toontown. Then there's the gadget coaster, the little coaster. I was going to look up the height requirement on that because I don't remember. But there's is Mickey and Minnie's individual lightning lane? Or is it regular Genie Plus?
It is individual lightning lane.
So, I mean, that's a lot of money to purchase. If you're going to purchase one individual lightning lane for the day, I definitely say Racers because it's not in Disney World. I have seen times where, Mickey and Minnie's is like 30 minutes. It seems to fluctuate quite a bit. So I would kind of gamble on that one. I'd see if it's, a family favorite and the kids really like it, I'd say kind of see and watch the wait times instead of purchasing it. And I mean, unless you want to. Oh, they're not going to tell me. Oh, 35 inches. Okay, so the Chippendale Gadget Coaster is 35 inches. So most likely, unless your 2-year-old is really tall, would need to sit out on that. But it's a fun one for the older two.
Yeah. Now, I know the fireworks are going on right now because it's 9:30 Sunday evening. But the wait times are amazing right now. Rise is only 20 minutes. Smugglers run 10.
Rise is 20 minutes? Oh,
Smugglers runs 10.
I mean, I was going to skip.
Pirates is 10. Jungle Cruise is 55. But Thunder Mountain's 15. Space Mountain's 30. Matterhorn's only 5. But
Big Thunder's 15. You just said that, huh?
yeah, but yeah.
Small World's 5. Yeah.
But anyways, go ahead.
Yeah. So,
Actually, I take that back. Indiana Jones is 55. Jungle Cruise is 5. Yeah, so
yeah, that makes more sense.
that makes more sense.
Something they could do after lunch or whenever if the youngest one still naps, you could try for a Genie Plus for Space Mountain around that time. Because that's a rider swap.
Yeah.
The older two would most likely be tall enough but who knows if they are up for that. 5 and 6 is still, young. I think Boston is 6, almost 7, but he's like a little thrill seeker. So, where our other two would not have didn't like it when they were 5 and 6. But, that would be one you could try for. That's one I would say would be worth it, even though it is at Disney World. It is different in Disneyland.
Yes.
In our opinion, it is better.
Yes.
So that would be a Genie Plus I would try for to get a time around if the youngest one takes a nap. That way they're not missing out on anything. There's like the big round water ball that the other two might like, fountain that they might like to play with while you guys are swapping. There's also Buzz Astro Blasters, which is pretty much the same as the one in Disney World. It is a little different.
Slightly different, yeah.
The track is a little different, but it's pretty much the same. But so that would be an option while the little guy sleeping. And then I would say the rest of that time, like maybe spending it in Fantasyland and getting those little ones in. I know Peter Pan is long. It goes up and down.
But Peter Pan is one that they have.
They have, Pinocchio. You don't have Pinocchio. You don't have Snow White.
Mr. Toad's Wild Ride.
Mr. Toad's Wild Ride. Storybook Canal Boats. That one's really pretty once it's nighttime.
Yeah.
Because you're riding this boat and you're going through all of the little, princess stories. And they have all these like twinkle lights and, you can see like Elsa's castle and it's lit up. And so that's a neat one at night. But then there's all just the rides that they can all ride. I know that they have them, but Jungle Cruise, Pirates, the ones we just mentioned, Pinocchio, Snow White, the Carousel.
Do they get a Genie Plus for Indiana Jones?
Oh, you don't have Indiana Jones.
They don't have Indiana Jones.
Ooh, okay. That's another one to do.
You have to get a Genie Plus for Indiana Jones. Now, be warned, it is a very intense ride for young kids.
Yes. So it's 40 inches, but for
it's not just intense, it's scary.
It's not like there's no, well, I don't want to spoil it because who knows if they like spoilers or not. There's scary scenes.
Yeah.
I don't want to say anything about the track because I know I don't like knowing like what's coming. So.
And they just redid it. It's just opened up. And so it's like brand new again.
Yeah. So.
It's just, I mean, if you watch Indiana Jones, there's intense moments.
I mean,
And
think about
so-
Temple of Doom. Think about Temple of Doom, and then how would your 5 and 6 year old react?
Yeah. I mean, some kids like that, intense.
Yeah,
things,
like we took
but-
Boston on when he was 6. He loved it.
Yeah.
Noah was 9. It
Freaked him out.
terrified him.
Yeah.
So, you know your kids. Technically 40 inches, they can ride it, but obviously use discretion and know your kids.
Yeah.
But
it's not
for
intense like roller coaster intense. It's intense like it could scare young kids.
So, but that's one definitely for the adults that I would get a Genie Plus for.
Yeah. Now you could do a rider swap with that.
Yes, you can
So
rider swap.
You can get one Genie Plus for one adult and then get a rider swap for the other adult. So you don't have to use up a Genie Plus.
Right. That's something we didn't mention. I am sorry. We are all over the place. But we told you where to go for the rider swap. Mm-hmm. And we said the individual lightning lane, when you purchase individual lightning lane, you have to purchase for everyone.
Yes.
But for Genie Plus, you can just get a rider swap. The second party automatically goes to the lightning lane. So you can just get a rider swap. I mean, I'm sorry, a Genie Plus for you. And then when you swap, your husband can go. Or you would need a Genie Plus if your oldest wants to go, then you would need a Genie Plus for whoever's going first, like in the group.
if it's just the adults going, then might as well just get a Genie Plus for both of them.
It's not going to hurt.
Yeah.
It's not going to, because once you check in, then
Because like here's a scenario. Like you could say one person that gets a Genie Plus for Indiana Jones and you get a rider swap for the other adult to go on it. And so that leaves you with 3 Genie pluses that you can use. So you could use those 3 Genie pluses.
just 2.
2.
Because not for the 2-year-old.
Not for the 2-year-old. So you can then use those 2. Well, that wouldn't work. Never mind.
Confusing.
Getting way too
sorry,
complicated.
I'm sorry.
So just get 2 Genie Plus for Indiana Jones.
Just
Make
do
easy.
it. Just do it. Just
don't
make
use
it
rider
easier.
swap unless your kids want to go on it. Then
Get Genie Plus for everybody.
get Genie Plus for everybody. Never mind. Just get Genie Plus for Indiana Jones. Don't try to figure out rider swap for that. So because it would just it makes it too complicated.
Oh, I turned off the monitor. Okay. So
So
Okay. Let me break it down this way. In Disneyland, the 3 Genie Plus I would get. Splash Mountain,
yes.
Indiana Jones,
Yes.
and Space Mountain.
Yes.
Those would be the 3 I would get.
Now, if you have time,
What are you doing?
I would recommend also getting a Genie Plus for Big Thunder, because it is slightly different than Disney World.
It is. It is. It's also better at night,
Yeah.
but don't stress out about that.
Okay.
It's just, if you have time, yes. But Space Mountain is quite a bit different. So I would.
Okay. So by this time, it's probably dinner time.
So yeah. So in between. Okay. So I was going to just kind of like try to simplify all of my ramblings.
Yeah. Okay. Go
Is
ahead.
that the 3 Genie Plus I would get for Disneyland would be Splash, Space Mountain, Indiana Jones. Wherever you fit those in with you or your schedule, with your kids' schedule, just those would be the 3 that I would get. And then in between there, or however, again, works with naps and things, just get the little rides. Snow White is like, they redid it and it's really pretty. It's short. It's like Peter Pan, it's like you wait in line for a while and it's like a minute long. But it's the Fantasyland rides.
Small World is different. It's much longer.
Yes, it's much longer.
It's the original.
Yes. So this is what I was going to say. Well, I'll get to that. you know, obviously, if you've listened, you know, I'm a Small World fan. So I'm like, yeah, do Small World. If you're not, skip it. You know, I mean,
Yeah.
when your kids need to burn off some energy, Toontown.
Yeah.
These are my bullet points.
Okay.
Dinner.
Make what before dinner, when it's snack time, get a churro. Mm-hmm. Or if it's a dessert thing, get it for dessert while you wait for the fireworks. Because Disneyland churros are so much better than Disney World churros.
They are better.
So, anyways, dinner.
But also, if you like pretzels, for the 100, they have the lavender pretzel.
Yeah.
It is sold at Casey's Corner. Or no, I'm sorry, Refreshment.
Refreshment Corner.
That was Paris. Refreshment Corner on Main Street. It's right before Jolly Holiday. It's only for the 100 celebration, and it's super good.
Yes.
Super good.
Dinner.
Dinner, honestly, my gut with having 3 kids is to do a quick service.
Yeah.
Like,
and she has young kids too.
Young
so
kids.
Sitting at a sit down is hard.
And by the end of the day, because my 2 go-to for dinner with kids would probably be Pizza Planet.
I consider that quick service though.
Oh yeah, me too. Is that not quick service?
No.
Pizza Planet?
No, I said, you said sit down. Is that
What did
you
I
said?
say?
I don't remember what you said.
I said my 2 go-to.
Oh, go to. Never mind. I thought you meant we're talking about reservations. So you're talking quick service.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It would be Pizza Planet.
Mm-hmm.
They have
Tomorrowland.
in Tomorrowland. It's right next to Space Mountain. It's fun. Toy Story. It's pizza, obviously.
Pasta.
The pasta's good. There's salads. They have, the kids' meal. They get to choose, chocolate milk, macaroni cheese, or slice of pizza. The pizzas, slices of pizza are big.
Yeah.
Breadsticks. Mm-hmm. It's an easy go-to, good one. If you're wanting like a little nicer and sit down, I'd say, but it's not a reservation. Let me get the name because I always forget it. Rancho del Zocalo Restaurante.
Oh, the Mexican
restaurant.
Yeah.
It's right by
Thunder Mountain.
Big Thunder Mountain. Mm-hmm. It's still quick service, but it's a little bit nicer than Pizza Planet. Really good Mexican food. Mm-hmm. A lot of places to sit outside. Mm-hmm. And that's really good too.
Yeah.
My other favorite is Jolly Holiday.
Yeah.
It's on the corner at the end of Main Street. They have really good pastries. They're one, though, that you'd want to put in your mobile order early because they fill up. Their time slots fill up.
They get busy.
Yeah. But they have like grilled cheese and tomato soup. They have, what do you usually get there?
The grilled cheese.
You get the grilled cheese too?
Yeah.
I'm going to order food I'm ordering now. I'm ordering some food.
They had like the
sandwiches.
the
beef burrito toasted cheese. I got that last time. It is very good. Turkey, roast beef, grilled cheese. Kids has macaroni and cheese. They just have really good pastries. They have the raspberry rose macaron. That's really good. Matterhorn macaroon, which is really good. So they have some really good pastries. But those would be my 3 dinner. Mm-hmm. They're quick service, but the food is good. good with kids.
Mm-hmm.
Those would be my, depending on what you're feeling like. Pizza? Mexican? Sandwiches?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Good options.
Okay, so fireworks.
Yes.
If you make it to the
Because by
fireworks.
this time, you're probably pretty tired.
But you only have one day.
Yeah.
So, here's my thought.
Okay.
While go to iconic place, oh my gosh, I want to go to Disneyland so bad right now, is in front of the castle.
Yeah.
Now, Disneyland Castle has my heart.
Mm-hmm.
It is the original. It is what I have grown up with. I love it. It's beautiful. I will never say anything bad about it. Cinderella's castle.
Mm-hmm. It's quite
Initially is more impressive.
big. Mm-hmm.
It is huge.
Yeah.
You can see it from everywhere.
Yeah.
Sleeping Beauty's castle is much smaller.
Mm-hmm.
So, I would say to view the fireworks, if you've gone to Disney World and you've seen them in front of the castle, I would say try for a spot in front of Small World. Small World in Disneyland is a beautiful facade. What is this? Is that a facade?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Where in Disney World, it's inside a building.
Mm-hmm.
You don't get the huge, iconic clock that you do in Disneyland.
Yeah.
They do all the projections onto Small World, just like they do on the castle.
Yeah.
It is not as busy over there. It is busier than it was like 4 years ago. Like when we were there in February, I was like, more people, or no, not February. Last summer.
It was over the summer.
Over the summer. I was like, "Ugh, not as many people used to watch the fireworks over
Yeah.
here. More people were watching, but the castle's not as big, so you need to be closer if you want to see the projections on the castle in Disneyland. And it's harder to get a spot. You need to do it a couple hours before.
Yeah.
Where in front of Small World, you still need to like camp out a bit for a good spot, but not
Probably only like
not
30,
not as
45
early.
minutes. Yeah.
Depending on if there's a parade or not.
Yeah. There isn't a nighttime parade right now.
Okay, so then you'd be fine, because that was the issue in the summer. Is they were doing the electrical parade, the Main Street
Yes.
electrical parade, and so people lined up for that and then just stayed.
Yes.
But if there's not a nighttime parade, then it's easier to get a spot. Small World is so pretty, all lit up. They do the projections, and it's a different view than you're ever going to get in Disney World. Pretty iconic Disneyland with
Yes.
the outside of Small World.
That's
So
a good point.
I would say go there for the
Yeah.
fireworks. Yeah.
And then by that,
Get a treat on your way out.
yeah, do some shopping on the way out in the Emporium. And while you get your third churro of the day.
If your kids like sleep amazingly well in the stroller and then you guys can just like keep going, I'd say that's when you do Big Thunder, depending on when the park closes, because
Yeah.
Big Thunder's great at night.
Yeah. Yeah. It's really good at night.
But if you're done, you're good. You've had a great day. It's been a busy, I'm exhausted thinking about this day.
I'm really tired.
So that was a lot.
That was a lot. We spent about an hour talking about this.
So here you go. You have a question about
We'll dedicate
Disneyland?
an entire episode just
we
to
will
you.
answer it in confusing tangent depth.
So let's recap. So
We like talking about this.
yeah.
Okay.
So recap. Just
Recap.
bullet points.
Start in California.
Start in California. Individual lightning lane.
Individual
racers.
lightning lane for racers. Genie plus web slingers.
Then in
Head
Incredicoaster.
down to Pixar Pier. If you want to hit up Ariel on your way because your kids love it, do it. If not, keep going. Head down to Incredicoaster, single rider. While one does single rider, you take your kids on Jessie Critter Carousel or the Inside Out ride or some of the little
games, boardwalk
games.
Soaring over California.
Right. So after
Incredicoaster.
Oh man, I just remember. Okay, they only have a day. You can't do everything. You can't do everything.
Sacrifice.
Because I thought of Goofy Sky School.
Oh, the Goofy Sky School is good, but I would skip that one. I would skip it.
So yeah. So after you check in, backtracking a bit, I'm sorry. After you check into Web Slingers, then that's when you can get your Genie Plus for Soarin'. Then go do the single rider for Incredicoaster. Hit some of those little rides while you wait. There's not a lot of little rides. So, Soarin', is it lunchtime? Maybe Smoke Jumpers, maybe Pim's Kitchen. Not lunchtime, head over to Disneyland.
After 11 a.m.
After 11.
You can park hop.
And then, main Genie Pluses in Disneyland that I would recommend. Splash Mountain. My mind just went totally blank. Space Mountain. There was a third. Indiana Jones.
Yep.
Whatever order. You do you. My mind keeps going blank.
And then
Hungry Bear by Splash Mountain is a good lunch spot. So if you wanted to start with your Genie Plus for Splash Mountain, you could also grab some lunch there, Winnie the Pooh, etc. Toontown's a great place to run off some energy with the littles. And in between there...
In between your main Genie Pluses, maybe you can throw in a couple of Fantasyland rides.
Pinocchio, Snow White, and Storybook Canal Boats would be the ones that I would say to hit.
And then dinner.
Also,
go ahead.
Quick point: if you're Pirates fans, it is like twice as long in Disneyland.
Yes,
it is. It is a longer ride in Disneyland from what I looked up.
Yeah. So if you need a nice, break, it's a good one to fall asleep on because I usually fall asleep while we ride it.
Although, Georgia's terrified.
Yeah, she hates that ride.
So I don't know how your 2-year-old would be because our almost 2-year-old was terrified.
Yeah.
It was so sad. But
so dinner options.
Dinner options, I'd say Pizza Planet,
Jolly
Holiday, or for the life of me cannot remember the name of this place.
The Mexican restaurant. Next to Thunder Mountain.
Next to, why did they have to make it such a long Rancho del Zocalo?
Yes. And then fireworks in
front of Small World.
Small World. Get your treat on the way out. Head back to the hotel. Congratulations. You just had a very busy day at the Disneyland Resort.
Yep.
So hopefully, Ashley.
Oh my gosh. I feel like that was the most confusing thing I've ever talked about.
Well, I mean, that's a lot to do. I mean, imagine if someone said, I have one day at Disney World. I mean,
well, that's just ridiculous.
I know, but some people try to do it.
I hope that made sense. Feel free to message us if it didn't.
Yeah. If you need more concrete, explanations, just send us a message.
Would you do this? Would you not do this? We are happy to answer you.
Yeah. And for anybody else, if you have questions, I mean, Ashley's question is very complex. So that's why we decided to dedicate a whole episode to it, because it's just easier to talk it out instead of just typing it out
and confuse everybody.
Yeah.
But we also this is why we kind of started the podcast is one, because we obviously love talking about Disneyland all the time, but we'd have friends all the time asking us like, oh, where would you stay? And like, what would you do? Would you do this? Or like, where, like, and we didn't get like frustrated. We enjoy talking about it.
Yeah.
And so, so we love it. So like, if you're wondering if you should message us and ask us, yeah, do it, because it's fun for us, even if it's not fun for you to listen to, because you're like, what in the heck did they just say? I'll be a tour guide. Can I just take you around? I'll take you around.
That'd be cool. That'd be pretty cool.
I'll come with you. And
pay for me, and then
there we go. And I'll watch the 2-year-old, and you can just go on the rides that he can't.
There you go. That's a new side business.
Hey, kind of like a nanny.
Yeah, that's pretty much what it is. a Disney nanny.
A Disney.
So.
And if you're on Instagram and you want to share, tag us. We can see how your day's going.
Yeah. Let us know how it went. If you used our tips, we appreciate it. If you didn't, you're like, that was
okay.
Stupid. We appreciate that too. But and if you liked what you heard, you took these tips and used them, leave us a review.
Yeah.
On Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, wherever you listen to us. We appreciate the feedback, and we'll give you a shout out. We appreciate it.
Yeah.
So you can find us on Instagram at dreaming.of.disney.podcast on Instagram. This is the Dreaming of Disney podcast. We appreciate you. Thanks for listening. We'll talk to you later.
Bye.